Well, welcome everyone to this evening. It's lovely to see you all. Um, yes, for those who don't know me, I'm Shanta Chitta and I live in Brighton, and I was one of the co-founders of Triratna Earth Sangha, the Kasha Raja and Katya and Shantigaba and Angela and Diana. So tonight I thought we could explore Kshitigarbha, whose name means earth store or earth womb. So I want to take a sort of more archetypal, symbolic approach to the climate and ecological emergency. We've already had some amazing contributions this week, exploring gratitude, interconnectedness, and metta. And last night we had a beautiful evening of poetry and gratitude from the San Francisco team. And today, this morning, we moved more from the human realm to the earth and to other sentient beings inhabiting this planet. I thought the ground was set very well by Kasha Raja this morning, talking about ethics and practice and activism. And this afternoon, Akupa took us very skillfully into the plant and animal realm, reminding us that animals, sentient beings, and are very similar to us. They experience emotions and pain and suffering, and they can even mourn when they lose members of their family. And so as we learn more and more about the whole world, the plants and animals, we realize that they're not so very different from us in many ways. So tonight, I'd like to explore with you Bodhisattva Kshitigarbha. I'm not an expert on him, but he is a figure that has always attracted me. I think possibly because he goes down into the depths to the hell realm to rescue all sentient beings. And I have a sort of fascination for that. And my interest was rekindled this winter on the winter vihara I spent some time on with Kamla Shila, when he explored Kshitigarbha over a period of several nights. So I thank Kamla Shila for inspiring me to do this evening. So Kshitigarbha is not a well-known bodhisattva, but there are a few members in the order who do take him as a practice. And I find his name very interesting, Earth Store or Earth Womb. Where does that symbolism come from in his name? Why did he have that name? I was also particularly struck when Kamla Shila talked about him in the 10 properties of the earth, which come from some sutra, although I haven't yet found out which one. But the other thing Kshitigarbha is most well known for is his great compassion. As I mentioned, he's a bodhisattva who vowed to forego reaching enlightenment for himself and promised to go down into the hell realms to save all beings and help them attain enlightenment. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. I thought we would start with a Karana Bhavana for about 40 minutes. So I think it's always good to meditate and just arrive and settle in for the evening. So compassion is an emotion that naturally arises when metta meets the suffering of others. And it's a heartfelt response to both our own suffering and to all suffering in the world. And all beings suffer during their lives. It is common to all sentient beings. And as I mentioned, even animals have feelings and suffer, and possibly plants. So I thought we'd have about 40 minutes meditating. And I'd lead it in 3 stages. I'll lead it quite lightly. And we'll start off in the first stage, generating metta and compassion towards ourselves. And then we'll move out to everyone here on this retreat this week. And then eventually in the last stage, we'll extend it out beyond the human realm, as we've been doing today, to include all animals, birds, plants, fungi, algae, plankton, whatever, wherever your imagination goes, to all sentient beings that make up this amazing ecosystem, which we are all part of. And then after the meditation, I'll talk a bit more about Kshitigarbha, and we'll have some breakout groups to discuss your response and feelings about him. And then we'll end up with just sitting, just bathing in the light of Kshitigarbha's compassion. And then Angela will chant the Kshitigarbha mantra for us. So if you'd like to take up your meditation position, whether on a cushion or chair, and make yourself comfortable. So just take your awareness to your posture. Make sure you're seated comfortably on your chair or on the floor or on the cushion, or lying down if you wish. And take your awareness down to your sitting bones. And become aware of the pressure of the earth pushing up beneath you, the weight of gravity pulling you down. Become aware of sitting on this great, vast planet, the earth, supporting you, holding you, with your spine rising up from your pelvis. Perhaps take a few deep breaths to let go of any tension from the day. And maybe you could try a bit of earth breathing. Imagine breathing down into the depths of the earth below you, and then breathing up as if you had roots that went down into the earth. Breathe up back into your body, filling your lungs and your whole body with nourishment and oxygen from the earth. Practice taking a few deep breaths, breathing down again to the depths of the earth, and then up back into your body. And with each breath, let go of any tension, any tightness that you might feel in your body. Your shoulders and neck relax. Your face, the muscles around your eyes and your jaw, let them relax. Breathe into any tension in your chest or in your abdomen. Imagine your muscles softening. any tightness around the eyes, the forehead. Just breathe gently into those areas. Your lower back, your legs, right down to your feet. And then very gently take your awareness to the heart area in your own time. And just notice how you're feeling. Do you feel sad or happy, excited, irritated, churned up or confused? Just allow whatever is there to be. And nurture that feeling, explore that feeling gently, with kindliness, with tenderness, just giving yourself permission to be just as you are. Whatever emotions that are there, it's okay. As you feel yourself soften, allowing the feeling, maybe you feel some warmth, some kindness towards yourself. Gently nurture that spark of kindness, caring, concern for yourself, how you are feeling at this moment. Allow it to grow in a kindly way. Whatever knocks or traumas or difficulties you may have experienced over the last days or weeks, just nurture them in a kindly way. Allow them to soften in the warmth of compassion. Let be whatever's there, held in the kindliness, the metta, the compassion, karuna, that is pervading the atmosphere around you. Maybe use your imagination, which is a warm golden light, sending balm to your heart, to your being. Softening your heart and expanding. That you feel nurtured and cared for. May the suffering ease. May you find joy. May we all find joy and contentment. And now take that loving kindliness out to everyone else here on the retreat, people you've met this week, everyone sitting here this evening. Recall that everyone experiences suffering at some point in their life. Or maybe think of a friend, someone you know who's having a difficult time at the moment. And send warm wishes, loving kindness, compassionate feelings towards them as you felt towards yourself. May they be well. May this suffering ease. May they find joy. May everyone here on this retreat be free from suffering. Again, use your imagination. Maybe imagine golden light pouring out onto everybody, like the rays of the setting sun, soothing any pain or distress, pouring balm on everyone here who's been on this retreat. Don't forget to include yourself. If your mind wanders, gently bring yourself back to your heart, feeling of tenderness in the heart area. And now extend that loving kindness, that compassionate awareness out beyond this retreat to all humanity and to all sentient beings. Allow your imagination to take you where you feel you would like to go. Remembering that everyone suffers at some time in their life, whether through illness or ignorance, craving, we all suffer. And there is much suffering in the world at the moment. So allow yourself to try and feel compassion to all those who are suffering in war, who are trapped, being bombarded by missiles. And not just the humans, but the animals as well, caught up in this battle. To the many millions of people who are on the edge of famine, whether caused by climate change or conflict. Lack of water and failed crops. Send them your loving kindness, compassion, and bathe them in the golden light to ease their suffering. And maybe see if you can generate some compassion for those that have perpetrated the war. Imagine the mental states that these people are in, such as Putin, isolated and paranoid. Maybe a tall ask to feel compassion to people such as Putin, the Russian army. They're all human beings such as us. They too have suffered and are suffering. Karuna is indiscriminate. Like metta. Where there is suffering, there is compassion. Maybe, if you will, extend your well-wishing, your compassion to those who are ill or deluded. Who out of greed are making themselves unhappy and isolated. And who are harming those around them. If it all feels too much, bring yourself back to your heart. Nurture yourself. Maybe allow yourself to be supported by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As you extend your metta, your compassion to all the creatures on this earth. Just allow yourself to go where you feel safe to go. Respecting the life of all animals and creatures that live on this planet. Respecting their right to be here and share this planet with us. Extend your love and compassion towards plants if you wish. They also suffer when they're cut down or ripped up. Trees, shrubs, ferns, right down to small creatures like plants like lichen, algae, fungi, the amazing network of mycelium that connects trees in forests. Vast network of mycelia which can be dug up and destroyed by us. They too suffer, but do an amazing job that we hardly begin to understand. Spreading through the depths of the earth. Imagine them all bathed in golden, healing light. Imagine golden light bathing the whole planet in love and kindness and compassion. And that includes yourself as part of this ecosystem, as an inhabitant of this planet. This beautiful blue planet suspended in the universe, in space. Holding this abundance of life. And in the last minute, gradually start to bring yourself back from wherever you've travelled. Bring yourself back into the room where you're sitting or lying. Gosh, I don't know how that was for you, but it felt quite strong leading it. So, Kshitigarbha, what is meant by this name, Earth Store or Earth Womb? Garbha means womb, receptacle. I sort of wonder what it conjures up for you. I wonder if any of you have any connection with Kshitigarbha or any thoughts or feelings. So please feel free to put them in the chat. So maybe you're already familiar with him. So Deep in the earth there are many treasures, part of the symbolism of Kshitigarbha. He is a bodhisattva who's very rich with many treasures. And he also has the qualities that help make things grow. The earth by its nature is deep and vast, and it also holds an ancient wisdom. Yet Kshitigarbha is depicted as a young monk with shaven head. So there's something very ancient about him, but also something very young and fresh. And there's a popular story in the Kshitigarbha Sutra, which is a popular Mahayana sutra in China. The Kshitigarbha Sutra, or the Purva Pranidhana Sutra. And this is a Mahayana sutra about the fundamental vows of Bodhisattva Kshitigarbha. And there are descriptions about his various lives. Where someone's put in the chat, protector of all children. Yes, that's particularly popular in the East, I understand. He's also, I think, a protector of travellers. So amongst the many stories in this sutra, there's a description of how in a previous life he was a young girl, the daughter of a Brahmin called Sacred Girl. Now this girl was very worried by her mother. She felt her mother disrespected the Dharma and the three jewels and failed to follow the Dharma's teaching. And eventually her mother died when the girl was quite young, and Sacred Girl was very distressed. And she sold everything she had and used the money to buy offerings. And she took them to the temple and offered them every day to the Buddha of that particular time. And she prayed to the Buddha that her mother be spared the pain of hell and pleaded with the Buddha. And he answered her by telling her to go home and to recite his name if she wanted to know where her mother was. So she went back home and she recited his name. And as she did this, she was transported to a hell realm. And at the gates of this hell, she was met by a guardian who told her that her offerings to the Buddha had helped her mother, and her mother was no longer in the hell realm, but had ascended to heaven. So the girl was extremely relieved and overjoyed at hearing this. But seeing the hell realm, she was very upset by seeing the suffering of so many beings in the hell realms. So she made a vow to relieve all beings from suffering in future lives, and to do this for many kalpas. And eventually she's reborn as a man, which I find slightly galling as a woman, but I think probably Kshitigarbha is androgynous. So this young girl is reborn as the Bodhisattva Kshitigarbha after many rebirths. And he meets the Buddha, and once again, this is Shakyamuni Buddha, he vows again to the Buddha that all the hells will be emptied and he will forego Buddhahood until all the hell realms have been released, all the beings in the hell realms have been released. So he's someone who's able to look into the deep darkness of ignorance, hatred, and confusion. So although he's depicted as this young monk with a shaven head and halo, and he carries a staff to force open the gates of hell, and he also carries a wish-fulfilling jewel to light the way. And at this point, I'll ask Davi to share his screen and show one of the images. So you can see him holding his wish-fulfilling jewel and the staff in his right hand. I think this is probably a Chinese depiction of him. And we have another image we could show. Thank you. This is an older Chinese image, I think probably about 500 years ago. In fact, I have a picture here, which doesn't show up very well. Okay, thank you. So, as I say, I feel that he's an androgynous figure, and it doesn't really matter if he's male or female. And he's very much a bodhisattva of the times of darkness and chaos. And Kshitigarbha also makes another vow that I wasn't aware of, and that's to hold and protect the Dharma from between the death of Gautama the Buddha until the coming of Maitreya, the future Buddha. So he promises to keep the Dharma safe and to help teach people until the next Buddha takes over. So I thought I'd just now look at the sort of symbolism of the earth, the fact that Kshitigarbha chooses the name Earth Store or Earth Treasure. So this is something I sort of gleaned from Kamalasila. He talked about the 10 wonderful things about the earth, which he got from some sutra, but I'm not sure which one. So the properties of the earth. The earth is vast and great, which we know, and perhaps that seems rather obvious, but maybe we need to be reminded of how vast and great it is, that we take it for granted living on it every day. The second property is that all sentient beings rely on the earth, which again is fairly obvious. We wouldn't be here without the earth and also the sun. We need nutrients, we need the water, we need food, but we also need heat from the sun to grow the plants, to give energy. So we all rely on the earth, which I think we're all very aware of, and we're very aware of the danger that the planet is in, and hence the danger we're putting ourselves and other sentient beings in. The third great property about the earth is it's not given to likes or dislikes. It doesn't reject anything. It takes anything thrown at it. It has great receptivity and endurance. We've done a lot of damage to the earth. We've polluted it, we've stripped it of its minerals and resources. But the earth just takes whatever we do to it. In a sense, the earth will survive, even if we as humanity do not. There's something very constant about the earth. Fourthly, there's the question of whether the earth is sensate. Some say it's insensate. But do we really know? I think now of the Gaia theory introduced by James Lovelock. The earth is a living system, a very complex system that we hardly even begun to understand. And so the earth, in a way, is very much alive with all this teeming life below the surface of the earth, the soil, as well as walking on the earth and up in the sky. Another property of the earth is the acceptance of the great rains and bringing forth of vegetation. The earth is unmoved by great storms and rain and snow and sleet and hail. And this abundance of water is what nourishes the plants, the seeds, to allow them to grow, which then provides us with food. Another great property of the earth is a repository of seeds, which allows things to grow, the potential for growth and change. And it also reminds me of the Yogacara and the Abhidharma, where you have, for those who've come across this, the Alaya Vijnana, which is the storehouse consciousness. It's quite a complex system, but within that storehouse of consciousness, there are karmic seeds which are gradually matured until ripe, at which point they manifest the karmic consequences of the actions affecting that consciousness. So that's sort of a fascinating area to explore. The earth also bears many treasures. There is There is gold and diamonds. There are rare earth metals which we need for our batteries and electronics. We need lithium. There's also fossil fuels, gas and oil, which is what's leading us to the state that we're in today. The earth also provides medicines, I imagine from medicinal plants and maybe from minerals. Some animals have to go and lick certain rocks to get salts to survive. And the ninth property of the earth is it's unmoved by blowing winds. So no matter what storms may rage, the earth is solid and unmoved, undamaged by the winds. And tenthly, it is unstirred by the lion's roar. The lion is symbolic of the top predator that everyone is afraid of. But it is also, the earth is not afraid of the lion's roar. But I suppose you could also think of it as the word of the Dharma coming from the Buddha. And the earth bore witness to the Buddha's enlightenment. So we have the symbolism of touching the earth. So with all these qualities, the earth store Bodhisattva takes the earth as his name, and symbolic of his qualities. Now, I wonder now whether we perhaps could go into breakout groups, and perhaps 3 or 4 people. And I'd like you to think about Kshitigarbha and perhaps discuss in your group whether you agree or disagree that this particular time is one of darkness and chaos, or whether it is perhaps a potential for a turning point, the rising of new opportunities. So maybe you could discuss this. And also think about Kshitigarbha and discuss, secondly, how he may be of help at this time to help us navigate the crises that we're going through. And I'll give you about 15 minutes for that. So if David could put people into breakout groups. I don't know if anyone would like to share what they discussed or any ideas that came out of their breakout group in the chat. Harami put in earlier that she reminded me that, find her post again. In Japan, the Bodhisattva Kshitigarbha is a patron who has compassion for loss, especially for loss in childbirth or miscarriage, and also compassion and purification for women who've had abortions. I'll just add that. Thanks, Parami. So is anything that anyone wants to share? Someone's put the idea of the earth womb as a place of harbour seeds and their conditions for change and rebirth. Thank you, Sila Sri. Sila Siri, sorry. I've got my glasses on. We talked about the richness of the darkness, its transformative qualities. Yes. Imagine the dark, rich humus of the earth, nurturing the seeds, transforming into new life. Any more? Okay, thank you everyone. We're sort of running out of time, I realise. I thought I'd have too much time. So I thought we'd end. I was going to do a reading from Thich Nhat Hanh from his Love Letters to the Earth, because it's rather beautiful. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. So I'll just do a short reading for that. And then we'll just sit quietly, and Angela is going to lead us in the Kshitigarbha mantra, which you can join in if you wish. So if you just relax and sit comfortably, and I'll just read this bit. So the earth is a solid place of refuge. When we feel that we're fragile, not stable or solid, we can come back to ourselves and take refuge in the earth. With each step, we can feel a solidity beneath our feet. When we're truly in touch with the earth, we can feel her supportive embrace and her stability. We use all our body and mind to go back to the earth and surrender ourselves to her. With each breath, we release all our agitation, our fragility, and our suffering. Just being aware of her benevolent presence can already bring relief. On the verge of the Buddha's enlightenment, he touched the earth with his hand and asked her to bear witness to his awakening. Flowers sprang up in celebration at the very place where his hand touched the ground. At that moment, the Buddha's mind became so free and so clear that he saw millions of flowers everywhere, smiling at him. We can be like the Buddha and in difficult moments touch the earth as our witness. We can take refuge in the earth as our original mother. We can say, I touch the pure and refreshing earth. We can all see that Mother Earth is a great bodhisattva. When we see her in this way with all her many virtues, we will walk more gently on her and treat her and all her children more gently. We will want to protect her and not harm her or any of the myriad forms of life she has given birth to. We will stop wreaking destruction and violence on Mother Earth. We will resolve the question of what we mistakenly call the environmental problem. The earth is not just the environment, the earth is us. Everything depends on whether we have this insight or not. And now we will, if Angela would like to start chanting the Kshitigarbha mantra. And actually, David, perhaps if you could put that first image of Kshitigarbha up for us. And we can imagine him with his staff and his wish-fulfilling jewel, radiating golden light of compassion upon us all.
Om Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva Ya. 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 Om Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva Om Kshetigarbha Bodhisattva Yaha. Om Kshetigarbha Bodhisattva Yaha.
Thank you, everyone, for participating. I've just seen there are a couple more comments in the chat. Alyssa says, being aware that we feel all lost and being compassionate about that. And Angela's put the idea of the necessity of a guide through the dark and fertile times of tumult and change. Thank you for those. So thank you, everyone, for participating tonight and for your contributions. And thank you. And tomorrow morning, I'll be introducing Shanti Garba, who's going to be talking about his book, The Burning House, or material from that book. So I look forward to tomorrow morning, and thank you all, and wish you good night or good day, whichever part of the world you're in.